Everybody, hello and welcome. We are here live with Representative Sydney Kamlager-Dove. That's it, right, Representative?
Yes, you did.
It's so great to be here with her. Let me tell you something about this very strong, very amazing progressive woman. She is absolutely a powerhouse in Congress, but she was a powerhouse before she made it into Congress. She has a life and a body of work of advocacy, of social justice work, of representing us. I mean, she represents the brightest and the best. And it's such an honor to be with you, Representative, on this as we approach the end of Black History Month. She is all about finding womanhood, as she is a beautiful, outstanding, smart woman of Zeta Phi Beta. That's why I had to run out and get my
Picture blue.
not for I'm boldly blue for the Democrats. Now I'm a dark blue, but I had to get it here for you. So, Congresswoman, thank you so much for making some time. I have nothing but all the accolades for you, nothing but them, and I'm gonna get to them a little bit later. But before we go into that, we're here to talk about yesterday's work around the budget. So they and I have I was a little confused.
Yes, me too.
The news was reporting that there will be no vote. Then there was a vote. Did you guys actually get dismissed? And did you guys leave and have to rush back?
So these little savages are shady. What happens is you come and they say, we're going to have votes at 2:00. So you all show up. And we knew that they probably didn't have the votes because in the news, folks were saying there are no, there are no, there are no. So we had two sets of votes. The first set is really for them to take account to see which Republicans are not there and which Democrats are there. So it's like a fake out vote. And they held the vote open for a very long time because they were strong arming, right? Republicans, probably in the speaker's office, to be like, yo, you better vote to take, hundreds of millions of dollars out of the mouths of babies and to stop giving baby formula to new moms and to cut food assistance. So then they said they didn't have the votes and they started leaving, but they did not close the roll. And if you close the roll, that means you don't see any names, you don't see any votes on the screen, right up above. So they left, Democrats started leaving, and then all of a sudden they came back in and the speaker said, we're going to vote on a budget. So they were hoping that enough Democrats had left for good under the assumption that they didn't have the votes and they were going to do that vote so that they could pass it and maybe not have all of us there, which means the people who were upset about the budget or didn't want to vote on it might be able to get away with not voting for it. But we all showed up. It took a while. We all showed up and we forced them all to vote. And they all voted yes for this budget, except one person. And it is a $4.5 trillion bag that they are giving to the richest of the rich.
$4.5 trillion going to the richest of the rich at the cost of many Americans who need the resources the most. And that's also kind of like the confusion that's out there. In the budget bill, because of course we haven't been able to get it or read it, does it include no taxes on tips? Because that's what the Republican commentators are saying. So did they get that through?
No. The real thing is this has to actually go through the Senate. So we're going to see if it gets even worse. But no.
That it is, they're saying they were lying like that was included, but it did include no tax on tips.
Well, you know what? I tell them this. You got to keep receipts, boo. They're going to say a whole bunch of stuff, but you have to track what they do. And what they did was they cut $880 billion from healthcare. What it does have in there is cutting Medicaid. What it does have in there is getting rid of food stamps and WIC and SNAP. What it does do is, stop paying for baby formula for new mothers. And a lot of rich people are like, yo, I'm okay with the tax cut. I like it, but not at the expense of working people who are going to get screwed.
And that's what's going to happen. And that is the hardest part of this, is that the people who are going to suffer the most, many of them are not I'm someone who watches the news all the time. I'm following closely. I research you guys. I follow what you say. I follow what you do. I follow how you vote. I get upset, when somebody.
You must have a lot of cocktails that you drink.
You know what? I work out a lot. I do some running. I do some spin. I decompress at appropriate time.
Okay, good.
But so many but even I really couldn't understand everything that was kind of involved and what made it through and then what did make it through. So I'm thinking about the people who are going to be affected and impacted the most. Many of them, they don't even watch the news at all. Like they
Mhm.
might catch the NBC nightly news or they might catch ABC World News Tonight.
Right.
What can we do to get the right information out so the people who are going to be most affected are able to still fight with their senators to stop this from going further?
Well, people should be calling the senators right now. And you have to say on the record how you're going to vote. You know, we saw over this past week that folks had gone home and their Republicans were having town halls and they were getting yelled at in their districts and they was talking out of both sides of their mouth. And then they showed up, and they voted for this budget, which is all about tax cuts for the rich
Why
and
did
then cutting services for the poor.
why do you like that's something that's baffling to so many of us, right? We and my friends were talking about this that they were talking about it also. A friend of mine called me actually last night. There was a Divine Mind call that rallied to try to rally people together. And she was telling me she still listens to Pod Save America. I stopped listening to Pod Save America when they started knifing Kamala and Joe in the back. But
Mm-hmm.
people do lit. So she was saying now, Pod Save America, they were saying that they had a person there who said that Republicans don't care about what these constituents are saying in the town halls and they're still going to vote the way they want to vote. Why are they disregarding the will of the people that put them in office? Do they feel as though they are immune from being removed or primaried?
Well, they are more scared of Elon Musk and the Twitter trolls or the X trolls or whatever, and Donald Trump. But I remind them, Donald Trump is not a Republican; he a Trumpian. So he don't care about you, and he don't care about your party. And they think that their constituents will forget because we might keep receipts, but then we might throw one in the garbage by accident, and we might forget. So we have to remind folks up from now until 2026 what these folks did. And these tax cuts, if they go through, would be permanent. Permanent. So tell me why Elon Musk needs more money or Jeff Bezos. When you got folks who are like
keeping Elon Musk's fortune afloat, $38 billion from the American government in a year. If it wasn't for that money, this man's fortune would be significantly diminished. We found out that the value of X has gone, well, the value of Twitter. I'm not going to change the name of Twitter. Like I'm not changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico, but the value of Twitter has plummeted, 80% loss in its value since Elon Musk has taken over. We, the American people and our taxpayer dollars are the only things keeping this man and his fortune afloat, keeping him at number one and letting him balloon from billionaire to trillionaire.
He said he wants to be a trillionaire. That's what he said.
From our taxpayers' dollars. That's where it's going to happen. So for those of you who are watching, we have a number of people. I'm looking at my metrics. A lot of you are watching on X and Twitter, and I'm thankful that you're there. Don't leave if you're not, unless you're going to switch over to the YouTube. The floor is open for you guys to make comments. This is a live by design. So if you have questions, you have things that you want to ask or things that you want to say, drop them in the comments. And it's easier to comment, of course, on YouTube, and it's the Zactivist on YouTube if you want to engage in that way. There's so much people, there's a lot of confusion about what you and our Democratic elected leaders can do. Okay, there's a lot of confusion, and there's a whole entire do something movement out there. I'm going to be very honest with you. Now, the do something movement sounds like your progressive friends, but they don't look like your Zachary Kirk, like how I look friends. Okay, and so they're very vocal and they're very angry about do something. What can you do? What more can our elected Democrats actually do without being in the majority of either?
I think the best thing we can do is tell the truth and keep it real and be honest. The reality is this election, voters went out and they voted for Trump and to have Republicans have the House and the Senate. So we don't have those tools, right? We don't have the gavel. We can't control what bills come up to vote, but we can tell the truth. We can talk about the shit that's going on. We can be in the community and we can tell people to make calls and put pressure on Republicans. I don't care if your if your representative is not a Republican, you can still call their asses too. And you can say, I'm watching you.
That's key. Listen, that is so key. Repeat it. You can call anybody.
You can call anybody. I can call some people all the time. They're like, I ain't in your district, but can you help me? So you can call them. I run up on them all the time. I'm watching you. What are you going to do? Because even if you don't know anybody in their district, They have to feel the pressure. If they feel like nobody's watching them and nobody's checking them, then they're going to do whatever they want to do.
Every time. I think that's a key part, that we need to make more calls. Have we had, we saw in social media all of the outcry at the Republican town halls. What has been the reception at our Democratic leaders in their town halls?
So we went to the rally at the Treasury building when we were not allowed to get in. There were thousands on the street. We was rallying and screaming and cursing and telling people what Elon Musk and Donald Trump are doing. I did a teletown hall. We had 14,000 people on the town hall. We have had in-person town halls, and we've had between 400 and 1,000 folks show up in Democratic districts because, to your point, folks are saying the same thing. What are we going to do? And what we have to do is put pressure on and keep telling the stories. We need to be telling people every day a plane is dropping out of the sky. After Donald Trump has done fired everybody at the FAA, he's done froze funding for USAID. People don't know about USAID, but you know what? We got people all over the world working for the government. They got families in other parts of the world, and they can't even get home because Donald Trump fired the people that buy the tickets to give to American workers to get them home. So, then we're going to have folks out in the street, homeless in Lebanon and Kenya and everywhere that used to work for the government.
And the cost to the American farmer, like that is something else. Like I didn't know. I didn't know that so much of the aid that is used by USAID comes from American farms. And now we have produce sitting in storehouses in Kansas and Nebraska and Missouri rotting. It's rotting.
Yes. I come from California. It's an ag state. We have a lot of farmers who are smaller farmers, and they're able to stay in business because they get contracts from the federal government. We buy their crops, and that has stopped.
So Inferno 932 asks about the filibuster. Is that something that can be leveraged to stop the bills?
Well, so there's a filibuster in the Senate, not in the House. So what we have is something called the discharge petition. So if you're in the minority like us, you say, hey, I want us to talk about why the rent is too damn high. And if we get the majority of people to sign the discharge petition, then we can force the speaker to allow us to talk about how the rent is too damn high. So we only need 3 Republicans just to sign on any of these to allow us to just talk about the stuff that you all are hearing about and talking about in your own communities. That's what we can do on the House side. The Senate side does have a filibuster.
And I actually made a list. Like I have a list. I have it in my phone. I have to post it. I'm going to post it to all of you guys watching on the Twitter. I'm going to post it of the most vulnerable Republicans. And I'm not going to have Congresswoman Dove call out those Republicans, but a lot of them are in her state. Like they over there in California. Votes. So I have the list. I'm going to make, I went through and found all the ones in swing districts to highlight that we need to hit hard. That these are the people that we need to call. These are people that we need to really lay on the line and say, you have responsibility to your constituents and you're barely elected. So the will of the people they're not with you just like they're not with Donald John Trump, that you don't have the majority that you think you have. You need to move in the direction of the American people. And so that's going to be a big push, from my end, what I can do.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of people who are watching who are, a lot of my friends and colleagues, I've seen the numbers go up. They are, content creators. They share a lot on content. They're chronically online like I am, shooting out all day. What can we do to further support the work that you guys are doing in the House?
It is so important that you all help us tell the story of how duplicitous these people are. They have forked tongues. They say A and then they go and do B, right? You people need to know that they ran out, was hiding to sneak back in to do a shady vote. People need to know what they're saying in these hearings. I just came back from a hearing about January 6th, and they didn't even want to say that January 6th was an attack. It was a coup, was an insurrection. And so but you all can show this and then show how just shady they are, how they lie and how they're afraid, because nobody wants a punk representing them in Congress. We don't have no time for that.
We need strong leaders like yourself at the forefront. And I also, one thing again, I'm going to say this tonight. I'm going to say it tonight, but I don't have to say it here too, because I can't hold it in. one thing for those who are watching is going to be a great live at 10 o'clock with me, Kenny, and Brian, because we are not agreeing on some things. And we think it's really good to show everybody how we disagree. Like, because we definitely disagree in like the way we show up in the world, like loud and like, we hit hard. But it doesn't affect and impact the love that we share for each other. And we always find a way to come back together
Yes.
because the fight continues. We have to keep moving in the same direction, regardless of our opinions. And one of the big issues is about really how leadership should move. And I'll just kind of show my hand right now. And then I believe that, like, I was a teacher for years, and teacher, I have a big personality. I'm a big personality here. But some teachers didn't have a big personality, but they were just as effective. You got to be who you are, and that's your secret to leadership. So to me, anyone who gets in leadership, anyone who gets elected, they got elected because of who they are. And I don't think we should change that. Instead, we should seek to understand who they are and what strengths they have, and let those strengths be leveraged for the greater good. And so, with that being said, Congresswoman, I've thoroughly enjoyed watching your journey. You're really, your belief system is one of the most progressive in Congress.
Thank you.
It
Thank
is.
you.
It is. And I have watched how you have leveraged your beliefs and you use them in service to people, and you vote in a way that's for the greater good. You vote in a way that's for the greater good. And I admire it. Do you feel as though we will have a chance? Are we going to be able to get this house back in 2026?
I believe so. If we remember that we've got to rock with our set. I tell people when I'm in the district, you got to ride with your set. You got to figure out who your family is, and you can have disagreements in your family, but at the end of the day, you got to ride with your people. Okay. And you can fight after you win, but you don't want to be fighting when you lost, when you on the ground bleeding out. So have the discussions you need, have the family discussions you need, and then ride. And if we are riding with our set strong into 2026, we will get these gavels. And if we get these gavels, we can set the agenda. And if we can set the agenda, then we can hold Donald Trump accountable for the last 2 years of his administration. But I am not trying to be on this plantation for 4 years and have these people try to feed me this shit. That is not true.
And when things get rolled, it's so easy to roll back rights, and it's so hard to win them again. And so, Inferno, I hope that you join us tonight, because I promise you, you are going to be vindicated and validated by some. That's my belief. That is not the belief of all three people that will be on tonight's call. That's why you need to be there. But on the other end of it, I want to say that it is not our elected officials cannot go outside of the rule of law and decorum. For that, you can't do it, because then they lose the place and the positions that they have, and they're out of Congress. You can get removed. There is work that we as people, the people, must do. There is there's work that we have to do. The reality is we didn't do that work at the level we should have done that work prior to November the 5th, and we have to suffer the consequences and overcompensate for it as we try to move forward. And I believe, because for my brother, Inferno 932 and other brothers like me, we have to carry an even greater burden and an even greater load, because 92% deserves, and to me, they need their rest. I hate to say it. That's not popular with everybody. A lot of people don't agree with that. But I feel as though when Black women say we have shouldered the burden for this country since 1865 and before until now, I think that they have. And I think a lot of us haven't shown up in the public space for government the way that we should have. And we got work to do. So this is our time to shine. It's our time to do it. And it's also time for other people who are sitting here waiting for Black women to be their political work mules, to be their advocacy work mules, to be their social justice work mules, to realize that they have a role to play as well. And they have to put their necks out on the line. And they have to get out their asses and take sacrifice too, because Black women have sacrificed a lot. People have lost their jobs over their advocacy while fighting for other people's causes. They turn around and not even vote in their own best interest.
So, this election, we all thought we were in it together, and then we saw the results. And I've been telling people, especially for sisters, you think you know who you're in the foxhole with. And then after November, you was like, ooh, I didn't really know. So now we are going through the process of sort of checking IDs and making sure that we are in the foxhole with the right folks who are going to have our back as we continue to fight. Because of course, we are going to continue to fight for this country. And we also have to remember how to love our Black men. And we have to uplift our Black men. I mean, I am married to a brother. I have a young son in my house.
A beautiful family. The Huxtables over there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. I love him. But it is so important as a Black woman that I am listening to this Black man and I am hearing and feeling his pain and that I am motivated to talk about it in these halls so that I'm fighting for both of us, right? All of us. And we can continue to do a better job about that. Absolutely. That's why I say you got to know who your set is. And my set is my district. It is also my Black community. And I know when my brothers are in pain, but I also don't want them to be taken advantage of by this charlatan who does not care about them all at all. And it is the charlatan in the Oval Office right now.
Across the board. Listen, I don't want Lauren to get me. I'm gonna wrap up.
I know, I know. But why
Time.
they just fire the Joint Chiefs of Staff, a very qualified brother, right? Because Hegseth is like, yo, I don't want to be taking cues from him. He's far smarter than me. A brother. A brother.
That's right. That's right. So what I can't wait. We're gonna have to talk again.
Okay, we're gonna.
I believe I'll hopefully get to see you guys soon because I'll be coming for some stuff and hopefully I'll run into you. It's a pleasure. I want to end on like a positive note. One thing that you asked me was about kind of decompressing after as someone who's chronically like loving to watch the news and dig in and then I do research. I want to know, what are you doing as a Black woman, as a wife, as a mother, as an elected official? What are you doing to maintain your mental health?
Well, I try to do a lot of facials that sound crazy, but I try to take care of my skin because you're on the plane a lot and the weather changes from Washington, D.C. to California. I have pets in my home, so I actually try to spend time with them. I know this is a G-rated show, but I do be trying to rub up on my husband because he just makes me smile. And I like to cook. So, I decompress. I like to be around a lot of plants, nature.
So over, right? Because the 37th district in California is in the LA area, right?
It is. So we Baldwin Hills, Crenshaw, Nipsey Hussle, Mid City, Culver City, Century City. I can do a lot. I love to bake. So I do lemon cakes. I do pound cakes. I do apple tarts. I can definitely do a roast and collards. And I got a couple of really good recipes for cornbread. So I could do all that. But I love making soups. And I really love doing chicken and dumplings.
I love a good roast with some collard greens.
Do you?
Oh my goodness, that's a Sunday dinner. Then you have the lemon pound cake.
Yeah.
Now I know that you're really smart. I know that you're an academic, intellectual woman. What is a book that you have read that you want to share with our viewers? Like you said, I love this book. This is something I would love everyone to read.
Well, so the autobiography of Frederick Douglass and On Tyranny by Thomas Snyder.
I have not read On Tyranny, but everyone has. So that is one that I need to read.
It's very short. Yeah.
Get across. Of course,
yes.
Sections and excerpts, new excerpts of the autobiography of Douglass, like all. Actually, one of his descendants was a principal in my old school system.
No way.
Yes, and yes, he's still a Douglass, and he even looks a little bit like you can see.
Oh, you want to talk to him?
We've talked a lot. A lot, and he's married to a strong Black woman as well, who's also. Shout out to Curtis. If you
shout out to Curtis.
Curtis Douglass. The last question I have is that when you get a break, you're going to have a chance to binge some television, or where you maybe have recently binged television. What is something that you would recommend to our audience? Like, watch this.
Oh my God, I love Shrinking. It's on Apple TV. It's so funny, and I've been watching this thing called the Agency. And it's about CIA and all that. It's a little dramatic, but
and Agency is it on Hulu?
So the Agency is on Prime, and then the Bureau, which was the French first version, is also on Apple TV.
Oh God, I just canceled my Apple TV for $12.99. I'm like, I can't. Like I haven't watched. But maybe I'll reactivate it. The only reason I had Apple TV was for that news show, whatever it was called, Newsroom or whatever.
Oh yeah. I think they have very good shows.
The movie show.
Yeah.
But I may add it back just to watch that. And I actually do have one final question. We're in Black History Field. What is a Black-owned brand or a woman-owned brand or even a small business brand that you will think people should check out?
Rebel Studio is in the district. You can find them online and they do amazing. They do little sneakers and they have coasters. So I have some coasters of them and it's very radical. So
Rebel.
Rebel Studio.
Love it. I'm gonna check that out, and I'll be probably having some Rebel soon.
Uh,
Congresswoman, thank you so much. Again, I can't wait to see you. Please continue to keep fighting the good fight. Keep us updated. And let Minority Leader Jeffries know, and all the, because I'm getting all the emails. I appreciate the emails.
Yes.
I read every single one. I take notes. I use the contents of the emails in my videos to share with people. So all of that information, the more we get, the more we know, and the more we can use to inform our audience and our friends. So thank you so much. And again, everybody's shouting out. Thank you both. I'm seeing the comments now. Thank you, Agent.
Thank you. Thank you. Next time we can talk about the Black Republicans who said it was okay to be slaves.
My God. When I had no clue there would be so many Black people. I'm not even saying I don't know, but Black people at the White House for the pretend celebration of some history.
Talk to me about this. How he done said there's no Black History Month, and then he has Black History Month at the White House, and then they had all janky food. I saw little pictures. I said, this look like nasty crab cakes. Ain't nobody going there.
The food, I mean, it was like they fed, what was it? It was, I saw the crab cakes, I saw the collard greens, and and lamb chops.
Yes.
Lamb chops.
Then it looked like Tiger Woods had some hair plugs or something. It was all very confusing to me.
That's your brother out there on the West Coast. Tiger, we done lost Tiger. Tiger fully gone.
We lost Tiger.
Lay out of California.
Tiger. It was a hot mess up in there. And it looked like it smelled funky with Donald Trump. I don't know. Don't he look oily?
They smell like oppression and feet. That whole face. When I saw oppression and feet, and I saw some of the men. I mean, it was a mess. I'm like, I saw a brother in there with his Jerry curl top and face full of makeup, and I'm like, this poor brother is fully oppressed. But thank you so much, my friend. It has been a pleasure. I will talk to you soon. Everybody watching, I will see you guys soon. 10 o'clock tonight.
Bye.